Good afternoon, distinguished members of the press. On behalf of the sponsors of the joint letter calling for a halt to arms transfer to Israel, I would like to make a few remarks. Last Friday, on November 1st, we submitted this letter co-signed by 52 countries, as well as the OIC and the Arab League, to the Secretary General, the President of the General Assembly, and the President of the Security Council. This initiative reflects our grave concern over the unprecedented escalation of violence and the blatant violations of international law in Gaza and the broader occupied Palestinian territories, including East Jerusalem, as well as in Lebanon and across the Middle East. We stand in strong, unified commitment to protect civilians, deter further grave breaches of international humanitarian law, and to work to end the illegal occupation and attacks in the occupied Palestinian territory and throughout the region. In our letter, we collectively called for immediate steps to halt the provision of transfer of arms, munitions, and related equipment to Israel as the occupying power, wherever there are reasonable grounds to suspect they may be used in the occupied Palestinian territory, including East Jerusalem. This position is anchored in General Assembly Resolution ES-10/24 of 18 September 2024 this year. We cannot stress enough that the staggering civilian toll, predominantly affecting women and children, resulting from ongoing breaches of international humanitarian and human rights law, is both unacceptable and intolerable. Immediate action is essential to address this immense human suffering and to prevent further destabilization that risks an all-out regional conflict. We call upon all states to uphold their obligations under international law, particularly in protecting civilians, enforcing a permanent ceasefire, and preserving international peace and security. Furthermore, we renew our appeal to the Security Council to fulfill its duty to maintain peace and security by enforcing its resolutions and taking concrete steps to protect civilians and ensure accountability. Ending this grave suffering, implementing a comprehensive ceasefire, and restoring the path toward a just and lasting peace are not only legal and humanitarian imperatives, but moral obligations. We urge that all necessary measures to be taken without delay to achieve these objectives. Dear members of the press, before giving the floor to Ambassador Mansour, I reiterate my thanks to all countries, PRs here, who co-signed this letter. Although sometimes it may not be necessarily good for their political, economic interests, but it was necessary for humanity, for peace. As a prominent diplomat, I am sure, based on the Security Council and General Assembly resolutions, based on the provisional measures by the ICJ, also based on advisory opinion of the International Court of Justice, I'm sure future generations will question us what you have done. And we did this, and we will continue. We will never stop asking for a solution, and especially for stopping these massacres. Now the floor is for Ambassador Mansour.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. And I want to add my voice to the voice of my brother, the Ambassador of Turkey, in expressing our appreciation for the more than 50 countries that have signed this letter that we sent to the Secretary General, to the President of the Security Council, and to the President of the General Assembly. as has been required by the resolution of the General Assembly predicated on the historic advisory opinion of the ICJ. As we all know, the ICJ said that this illegal occupation has to be terminated as quickly as possible. The General Assembly said that means in 12 months. So if we want to end this occupation, then therefore countries should not be giving the tools to extend the life of this illegal occupation, such as weapons, to allow it to continue doing what they are doing against the Palestinian people living under occupation, and even beyond, such as the case in Lebanon. So therefore, this is a concrete and an important step responding to what the General Assembly asked for by a large number of countries. And I know that countries in their national capacity have obligations, and they are in the process of sending their reaction to the Secretary General and also groups of how they can contribute to shortening the life of this illegal occupation and to bring it to an end as quickly as possible. This is one contribution in this regard, and it is also a contribution in saving lives. We need a ceasefire immediately. We've been calling for a ceasefire from the first day of this aggression to save lives, and the longer this war, this aggression to continue, more lives we lose, more Palestinian lives, and we lost so far close to 45,000 lives. Most of them are children and women, and more than 100,000 injured. Most of them are women and children, and tens of thousands perhaps are under the rubble. We were unable, to reach them. Of course, thousands of lives being lost, and the tragedy extended to Lebanon as well. So therefore, this is a contribution in this process. And we are continuing our efforts in order to see the implementation of that resolution of the General Assembly. So we are acting every day, we are acting every week, we are acting every month, and we will not stop acting and contributing our efforts until we see an end to this aggression and to see an end to the killing of Palestinian civilians and to save lives, and to force Israel to comply with the historic opinion of the ICJ to end this illegal occupation, to end it as quickly as possible so that we can implement the global consensus on ending occupation and the two-state solution, meaning the independence of the state of Palestine with East Jerusalem as its capital, so that we'll bring to reality the possibility of peace and saving lives and the two-state solution concretely on the ground. We will keep knocking on the door of the Security Council. I know as we speak, they are discussing ideas and proposals for calling for an immediate ceasefire and other needed things, especially sending humanitarian assistance to our people in the Gaza Strip, and specifically in the northern part of the Gaza Strip, and to stop this genocide within genocide, because there are 370,000 Palestinian civilians in the northern part of Gaza under the threat of being either killed under the bombs or starved to death. They suspended the second inoculation of polio because WHO was not allowed to send, the inoculations and the teams to conduct it, and the Palestinian people in the north who have been forced to move from one location to the other location in the north. There is no safe place in the Gaza Strip, and definitely no safe place in the north to allow the humanitarian heroes to conduct the inoculation, the second inoculation against polio for our children. This is the reality that we are facing. We had a great day yesterday in the General Assembly defending UNRWA. We have a large coalition of more than 125 countries in the defense of UNRWA. We had a meeting. Commissioner General Lazzarini briefed us. There is danger of destroying UNRWA. Israel is putting in place and legislated illegal measures against UNRWA. And although fictitiously they said it will come into place 3 months from now, they are already implementing it by denying UNRWA internationals to receive visas. They're not allowing them to come to the occupied territories. They are denying them their rights and privileges, not allowing their shipment of food and whatever things that they bring into the occupied territory to serve the community of refugees. Therefore, they are implementing the illegal thing that they did, and we are discussing the next phase of our reaction in the General Assembly by resuming the 10th emergency session soon, where we will legislate the appropriate resolutions to stand against what the Israeli occupying authorities are doing. And we are working very closely with our friends from Norway who are with us in terms of going to the General Assembly also soon with an advisory opinion about a host of violations of international law as it relates to immunities and privileges, and also as it relates to UNRWA. So we will continue working every day, every week, every month, until we bring this tragedy that the Palestinian people are going through to an end, and to allow the Palestinian people to live in peaceful days, to try to attend to their wounds, to rebuild our society, to rebuild the Gaza Strip, and to allow the state of Palestine as an independent state to become a full member in the United Nations, and to open new chapters of our life, chapters of peace, chapter of living in peace and harmony with all of our neighbors in the region. And we are grateful for our brothers and sisters from the Arab group, from the Islamic group, from the African group, from NAM, from the European group, from the Latin American groups, from all the groups who have stood tall defending the Palestinian people here at the United Nations, whether in the Security Council or the General Assembly, until they allow the Palestinian people to take what belongs to them and what they deserve: independence, freedom, dignity in the free, independent state of Palestine, after we put an end to this aggression today before tomorrow.